I know a lot of comments have been made by different kinds of people, some from lack of understanding. When you have a joint task force involves members of the armed forces, that's the Army, Navy, Air Force. We have the police, the DSS, the NIA, every other security agency are part of it. So when we have arrests, we have joint investigation team. So it is not like the army is taking laws into their hands. And, you know, I've had comments about what were they doing and all this. And once we are deployed on operation, we have the right and the mandate to arrest all acts of criminality within that area. So they were there deployed legally, they were doing a legal operation. And it was because the commanding officer felt the threat was not that high. That was why he went there and felt he could discuss with the individual. He did not go armed. That gallant officer, if he had gone armed, he would erase everybody in that place. But he felt these were people he knew, these are Nigerians that he could talk to. And when he stepped up to talk to them with his team, they were rounded up and all shot. And not only shot, their body parts were cut, their hearts and private parts were removed. And I think that is one thing that all Nigerians should stand against. I've heard the Robo leaders talking. Yes, I have very serious respect for elders, but also like elders also speak from position of strength. They cannot say they do not know what was going on there. I'm sure you are aware that since they decapitated the bodies of those guys, there's a lot of human sacrifice that is ongoing within those general areas. And it was just part of them showing, you know, a way of saying that they have strength. And that's why they were able to cut the heads, cut the hands, disembowel them, remove the hearts, and these other things. I don't know what was that for. What was the intent? But whatever the intent is, we remain focused, we remain committed. If you notice, again, our operation was highly regulated. I mean, ideally before now, it would have been a situation where we would have gone and flattened all the communities within the area. But it was measured because we felt not everybody was involved. But we know that a lot of people knew what was going on and kept quiet. And so that makes them complicit. But like I said, it was a major operation, it was a major response. We are conducting cordon and search operations to thoroughly search for our weapons and to arrest those that carried out this dastardly act. I'm happy with the traditional ruler that submitted himself, which is the best thing. I wish all those other ones that were in the pictures will also equally do the same. We are not animals, we are not barbaric, that will just go around killing people. If they had not touched our armed forces, nobody would have been there. We have lived peacefully with them, we have encouraged them, we conduct civil-military relationship. If you go to most of the communities, we provide amenities for them, just to show them that we are not an occupational army, we are the Nigerian armed forces, and we are here for Nigeria to ensure that
Okay, so that, was the Chief of Defense Staff speaking on the issue of the Okwama and how he has said this is premeditated by the individuals. And he also went on to thank, the traditional ruler who submitted himself. So this has been Who Said What right here on the Front Page Review. It's about time we move our conversation forward, going straight to the Front Page Review itself, where we get to discuss some of the headlines across several newspaper platforms. We'll be checking out headlines from The Punch, The Guardian, Daily Trust, Nigerian Times, and some other newspaper worth checking out this morning. And of course, we'll be joined by Rufai Oseni in a bit. We quickly just take a breather. When we come back, we'll get straight into a conversation right here on the show. Don't move a muscle, stay with us.
The stark reality of our economy, but the question is, where can we have buffers? Because it's also energy that feeds into our economy. Most of the class A people are people high urban areas, fact industries and things like that. So they have really 20 hours per day. Is that an empirical view they can get 20 hours per day? I doubt it. In fact, the person speaking yesterday, Mr. Oseni, was saying that there are some areas that have been downgraded because they don't even get up to the 20-hour threshold per day. When you look at it critically, how can we, have trade-offs, even with the manufacturing sector and other sector? Because if you hike the rate of electricity, you have there's a knock-on cost and also increase inflationary tendencies. So I think we most have to think through a balanced act, which I don't know what it might be as we speak now, but something needs to be done at some point. I understand both parts. The federal government too was pushed to a corner that they had to raise this rate, really, because also they've been paying subsidies in the electricity sector. Hitherto that's also hurting the economy. We have to find a balancing act.
Mr. Rufai, but Nigeria is not the only country subsidizing power, but in fact, energy is totally for its people. Why is it that the case of Nigeria is always different? We are no longer subsidizing fuel, even though we are partly subsidizing it at the moment. Electricity subsidies will be removed. Now, at the end of the day, the question is, what does the average citizen get to benefit from they will tell you not what you can do, Nigeria can do for you, but what you can do for Nigeria. But sometimes you have to ask this question: what would Nigeria do for you as a citizen?
Exactly, because is this even the right time for a hike? Looking at the fact that even if we're talking about in industries and all that, they're the ones that are largely affected, right? Even if we talk about those people, the companies, the businesses, even though we're referring to them in this particular situation, how has ease of business been for them during this particular economic quagmire that we're facing at the moment?
It's been a sad one, and I understand your concerns. It's very sad. The reason why we can't pay those subsidies is because we don't have the money. Pure and simple. Let's not deceive ourselves. And
so
over the years,
we don't have the money yet. We're buying vehicles. We're building new government houses.
So and the reason why we don't have the money is because our politicians have mismanaged our commonwealth. That's just it. So the earlier we realize that fact, and that's why elections matter. The earlier we realize that if you keep voting people based on sentiments and they come and destroy your commonwealth, then people suffer from it. That's just it. But as we are on ground now with this situation, there needs to be a trade-off across board. Probably maybe the government will come tomorrow and say, okay, let me push in the effects and all of that. We do not know. But as at now, as we speak, there's over 100% increase. Everybody's affected. I'm speaking to you, I'm affected. My rates have gone tremendously up. So it's the sad reality of where we are today. And that's why leadership matters.
Okay, you mentioned creating some buffer, for Nigerians, and it seems like that buffer might be coming especially for students, as the president has recently signed the bill, student loan bill, into law. But some questions have been raised regarding this particular development, the issue of transparency, and also some concerns on the eligibility for those who can actually access this loan as well. What would you have to say about these concerns raised?
There are concerns. Now I think they've increased the catchment to a very robust way that, okay, before you can access, I think 500,000 or less, you must have somebody of civil level 12 civil servants, a lawyer, 10 years experience post call and everything. The loan commences with repayment, after beneficiary has done NYSC, 10% of beneficiary salary will deduct at source, blah, 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 and all of that. For me, it's going to be hard for repayment. I am going to see many cases of default. Why? Because there's not a sustainable economic structure that supports all of this. Even in America, where you are short of relative amounts of jobs, you still have a higher rate of default on student loans. Look at Biden now struggling to cancel student debts. There's some people, I think Obama carried his own 5 years before he was president. So I think I'd rather we have a grant scheme or try as much to still, help with the tuition level we used to do, where the tuition was high on the rector of the school you are going, the letter has to be written through the CBN, that they have to assess your condition, you can go back to the drawing table and reject.
All right, let's move on to Ondo State at the moment. We're seeing that the APC and the PDP raked in 905 million naira from the sale of forms. We've talked about how expensive it is just to get, the ticket in a party to be able to vie for the flag bearers, position of the party. Now we're seeing PDP realizing 245 million naira after it sold expression of interest form and nomination forms for 35 million naira. We're seeing that APC also raked in a huge chunk of money as well. This seems to be very, very lucrative. And is there nothing that we can do about the laws? Because we know that there's a law stating a cap on some of these things. But isn't there a way to bring it down to ensure that, okay, when these guys go into power, get into office, they don't start using public funds to recoup the ones that they've lost?
I think we need to look at those ways and that law really, because when you look at the amount of money buying nomination forms alone, it makes the political process really about the highest bidder. And I think I was saying the other day during our presidential election that the mark of buying those nomination forms has made it so difficult that leadership in Nigeria has become the best thing money can buy. It's how much you can have money to buy. That's the part of regime I'm looking at those things. Secondly, I think we also need to build a system that includes the people a lot and how the people can be part of the process itself. I think that's what matters a great deal. So I think let's really look at and ensure that we try to create a buffer and a balance for.
Okay, with that being said, let's also move on to another state that will be having their election this year. That is Ondo State. Now, based on the impeachment on tribal, the proceedings have already begun, and of course, the panelists have now stated that tribal leaked some government secrets. This is what the assembly panel have now, the assembly have now said to the panel investigating what transpired or what has transpired in Edo State at the moment. With all that is happening, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, with all that is happening in Edo State right now, some would actually say this is being pushed by the incumbent, the governor at the moment, because he already has an anointed candidate in the person of Aswe Godalo.
See, the moment Tribal and Obaseki fell out, everything went berserk. So whatever the State House of Assembly is going to say, they're just looking for excuses. You don't want Tribal, but the tenure is almost over. But they just want to show him that, oh, we're falling out with you, and this should be the end. So pure and simple. All of the other things they're doing is just calisthenics, as far as I'm concerned. They don't want him again. As long as he has crossed the line, gone against his boss, then like we say in local parlance, they will show him Pepe. That's just it.
Should you show him Pepe? Okay, show Pepe. I'm talking about show Pepe.
Yeah, that's just it.
Show Pepe. It seems like in Rivers State, somebody is about to show someone Pepe, and this one has to do with Fubara. We know that according to recent reports, there have been this presidential peace pact that was supposed to be signed by Fubara. Remember when the Wike Fubara drama started? But Fubara has now made a resounding statement that this has sent some kind of shivers down the spine of pro-Wike supporters. He said he's going to sign that particular, pact. But for those thinking this is a sign of weakness, he's daring them that he's going to surprise anybody who dares him or considers this as a sign of weakness on his own part.
And he has declared war on pro-Wike supporters.
So is this a war on the pro-Wike supporters, or is this Fubara just trying to talk tough and solidify himself as the governor?
Again, the thing about politicians, when their interests align, they talk. When their interests don't align, they talk. Only time we tell about all of this. But I think what is most important should be that Fubara should focus on how he can make the lives of Rivers people a whole lot better. That's just fighting and everything. It's just for another 8 years. He's no longer governor there. The question will be, have you made a generational impact on the lives of people? Have you lifted them up? I think that's what will matter the most. And I think we major in the minor, and that's the sad reality of our life and governance, really.
But why exactly is Wike still
having? So I have to quickly leave, guys.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I have to thank you all for having me. Bless you guys. All right.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, that was Rufai Seni, talking about it. I wish he answered the question Gessie asked for him, but we'll definitely ask Larry Ogwego.
Yes, because why would Enrique, who is now the FCT minister, have such heavy stakes back and forth with a governor of another state of which you are not even there anymore? Why do you have such strong stakes? We understand that, yes, it's a state that he's from, and I mean, his family and all that.
You want to
is
dismantle
from that place,
the political... What is the English Yeson Wike used sometime early in the year or last year? You say you want to destroy the political structure I created. Nobody can tamper with the political structure.
Did he not destroy the structure that was already made by Amici at the time?
Anyway, the truth is Rivers State is one peculiar state when it comes to politics. Especially when it comes to the issues of predecessors and their successor. We always see this parley. We always see this romance between, one governor who once is anointed to take over. And down the line, it always seems like even before the administration kickstarts, there's always a fallout between the principal, and his successor.
It's a thing of, okay, you brought me into power, and finally, you no go tell me what to do.
Okay.
No, but you go tell me what to do. But let's listen to what Fubara had to say about this particular situation.
The president invited all the parties to Abuja and came out with a resolution that we should go and implement. That resolution, I'm implementing it, is not a constitutional implementation. Is a political solution to a problem. And I'm doing it because of the respect I have for Mr. President. But let me say it here. If that action that I've accepted to follow will be taken for my weakness, I will surprise them. I want this message to go to them, and I believe you know what I mean. President invited.
You heard it? I say you say I believe you know what I mean. I want this message to go to them. So is this a formal declaration of war? Fubara trying to tell Wike and his supporters that I know you people. I see your hands, in the background. I see the cards you're moving. I see what you are playing. I see you trying to use, national powers in Rivers State. But at the end of the day, Rivers State is Rivers State.
Why is it that we see politicians playing politics when there are real issues of governance in Rivers State? There are so many issues. I mean, when it comes to governance, there's so many things to be done, policies to be made to the betterment of Nigerians who elected you, who gave you that platform to be their leader. So why exactly are we seeing this back and forth between a Fubara and a Wike? Because when two elephants fight, they say that it's the ground that suffers. So two elephants are fighting now. Is it not the people of Rivers State that are going to be suffering this back and forth? We saw the president try as much as he can to intervene and bring them together. And now he's saying, well, that's your business.
But that being said, it's a good one. I love the fact that Fubara is trying to toe the line of peace. He understands what's being done. He knows
after
what
declaring
politics.
War, you say peace.
No, the truth is he understands the politics that's being played underneath, even at the national level and also at the state level in River State. And he's just doing this to appease some section of the people and also let it not seem like I did not implement what the president said I should implement. Basically, I'm a man of peace. But once it comes to war, I am Odumeje. I am the Ikotabaya, according to what they call them. But let's see how that transpires or plays out for the people of Rivers State going forward. We quickly go pay some bills or go on a short break. When we come back, we'll be having more conversations with Larry Ogwego, who will be joining us. And of course, I want to hear what Larry would have to say about this Fubara statement, where he has threatened war with, in quote or in quote and in quote unquote, Wike supporters. We'll be back in a bit. Stay with us.
Talk.
How you even announce a result? You should have the CTC waiting.
Keep talking.
If you want to tax people, you must provide them service.
Don't stop talking.
If anybody is telling that I'm a mole, that person is just being mischievous.
Hey, it's your rights to talk.
We are voice of the people.
Let's talk.
Are you
traveling to Lagos and desire a perfect getaway?
Look no further than the luxurious accommodations at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, number 42 Murtala Mohammed International Road, Lagos.
Relax and unwind in our beautiful appointed rooms, featuring all the amenities you need for a comfortable stay.
Now, whether you are traveling for business or pleasure, our attentive staff is here to ensure that your every need is met. We also offer complimentary pickup and drop from the Lagos airport.
Why not take advantage of our state-of-the-art fitness center, outdoor pool, and enjoy a delicious meal at our on-site restaurant?
With stunning views, world-class service, and a prime location, Airport Golden Tulip Hotel is the perfect choice for your next vacation or business trip.
So why wait? Book your stay today and experience the ultimate in comfort and luxury at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel.
For bookings and reservations, please call 0815-8003-333 or 0815-7003-333. You can visit our website at airportgoldentuliphotel.com.
Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, where luxury meets comfort.
Believe me. Happy Easter. This month of Easter, advertise with VOP 96.1 FM.
Come on!
Spend 100,000 naira on adverts and get 10 slots of jingles for free. So, call Sal on 0817 992 9729 for more information.
Yeah!
Happy Easter.
Hey, neighbor, come. This one where you wear spaghetti top, leggings, and koi shoe. Where you they go this morning?
My brother, I dey rush go VOP. Make Oga Caretaker help me advertise my business on top trading posts. Make me sell follow blow.
Correct, neighbor. If you get house, land, motor, or property where you want sell sharp to raise money, use Jackpa, or to complete that your special project, bring and come trading post. You dey sell restaurant, hotel, nightclub, or beer parlor? You be mechanic, spare parts dealer, AC repairer, photo studio, school, church, importer or exporter? Bring and come trading post. Trading post na the ogbonge marketplace on top radio where people they buy and people they sell. Them are they meet sharp. Trading post they sell every Monday to Friday from 15 minutes past 8 o'clock in the morning. Bonquem on top of Voice of the People 96.1 FM to advertise your own business for small shikili money. Make you call Oga Caretaker on top 0807 660 6162 or make you carry waka come with office. Wait there for number 4 Obomosho Street. Wait there for Garaki area 8 Abuja. No there for water soap enter your ayo. Trading post, ya sharp marketplace on top radio.
Talk.
Before you even announce a result, you should have the CTC waiting.
Keep talking.
If you want to tax people, you must provide them service.
Don't stop talking.
If anybody is telling that I'm a mole, that person is just being mischievous.
Hey, it's your rights to talk.
We are Voice of the People.
Let's talk.
News.
Breaking news on VOP 96.1 FM. Bye there.
Inakwana.
Good morning.
Ilahiala.
Ekaro.
Obohia.
Good morning.
Mewo.
Edio. Tutuama. Keideo.
Good morning. Rise and shine. This is the morning ride. We have got an action-packed day ahead with headlines, sports, business, great conversation. Start your day right with VOP's Morning Ride. Weekdays. Good morning. Good morning.
You're welcome back. This is still the front page review right here on Voice of the People 96.1 FM, 8 minutes before the top of the hour. We just had our conversation with El-Rufai Oseni, and it's time for us to move on to another of our in-house analysts who will be shedding more light on some of the headlines. Larry Ogoigu are currently on the line. Good morning to you, Larry.
Not yet.
Oh, it's not here yet.
You're
because
jumping the gun.
I'm waiting. I just can't wait to hear what Larry would have to say about, Fubara spitting fire at the moment, especially with what is happening in Rivers State at the moment. But that being said, while we await, connection with our man, Larry Ogweko, let's move on to talk about what is happening in Abia State. At the moment, in Abia State, we've seen Iqbal Zulu loyalists dumping the PDP for the APC. Is he on the line now?
Yes.
Okay. Larry, good morning to you.
Good morning, Simeon Sunday. Good morning, Jason.
I've never been this excited to talk to you, in a pretty long time. But something is getting me really excited at the moment. Is the drama going on in Rivers State? I don't know if you heard the statement of Fubara, which he made recently while he was trying to sign to sign the Presidential Peace Pact, telling people that signing it is not weakness. And he sent a message, and we know who he's referring to. He said, "Go and tell them. I know you know who I'm talking about. That this is they should not try me. They shouldn't dare me." So is this Fubara growing horns at the moment?
Now, what I found interesting is the fact that he didn't pull his punch. He actually said, I'm giving them notice, and it's not as if I'm hiding it. They know that I'm giving them notice, and that's really a new dimension to this whole wahala, as we say. The truth is that people like Fubara can only be ignored at one's own peril, because when you see generals who don't talk too much, it means that they are thinking too much. And you don't just discountenance the fact that he's holding the wallet of Rivers State, and that's a very fat wallet. And he has done something that is very impressive with that wallet, and that is to cut the civil servants. People may not understand, but I will do an analogy that is somewhat relevant, though the circumstances are not exactly the same. When Chris Ngige in Anambra State way back, and Chris Oba had their feud, the War of the Cruises, that's what I call it, the War of the Two Cruises. It degenerated so badly that PDP just couldn't resolve it, no matter how hard they tried. But guess what? Chris Ngige survived for quite some time, about 3 years, without being loyal to his party. In fact, he had an open face-off with his party. Because of that, he was abducted, locked up in a toilet, rescued, and all that. But he had one major weapon that he deployed, and I suspect that's where Fubara is going. He actually gave the people of Anambra State what they needed most at that time, that was roads, and they supported him wholeheartedly. You can say that he was eventually removed by the court, but he enjoyed unusual support. And if not for the removal of the court, Ngige would have remained Lord of the Manor. In the case of Fubara, what he's doing now is simple. You can see Labour threatening to occupy the House of Assembly if they tried anything. It may sound like a joke, but what he's doing is that apart from his political calculations, he has understood that power belongs to the people. Of course, we saw the gift you gave them during the Christmas period. So he is deploying his arsenals in a very quiet way. And what I think, anyways, is that apart from all of this issue of warning, threats, deployment of arsenals, and of course you can see that he's also recruiting generals. Secondus has made a statement. It's getting more interesting, getting hotter and hotter. But the most important thing is that when two elephants fight, they say that the grass will suffer. But I also add that the elephants sustain injuries. They sustain bruises.
Interesting.
Because even as we discuss the issue of the rivers issue, wahala, and the grass suffering, we also look at the fact that Fubara is not being allowed to focus on governance. Wike's goodwill, if he has any left, is taking a thorough beating. And they're not thinking about these things. They are both being distracted. So I always tell people that when we look at all these popular cliches, when elephants fight, the elephants, unless they are not fighting seriously, unless they are playing, but if they are fighting, there must be injuries to show for the fight, while we the grass will suffer our own palaver too. So I think it's about time Wike and his team allow Fubara to focus on governance. But if they don't, what will happen is that very soon this whole thing will come to a head, and I think it's going to get ugly. It was ugly before now. They lost an edifice, the House of Assembly. Yes, you can call it names. Somebody can say, call the building all kinds of names. Give a dog a bad name to hang it. The building wasn't even fit for use and all of that. But we have seen a very ugly part of this drama before now. And if nothing is done fast, it's going to get uglier. I think we would also appeal to Mr. President to, if he wants to broker a political solution, he should be sincere about it and rein Wike in. I don't think political solutions should be provided in such a way that it will look as if it's favoring one party for another. I mean, if you left PDP and migrated to APC, and then you are remaining in APC, and you want me to do your bidding, I don't know how that works. If I want to broker peace, assuming I'm Mr. President, that peace will be brokered on the basis of statesmanship. That is the point. Is how do we allow Rivers State to make progress? We can maintain your track, maintain your structure. Fubara, maintain your own structure. It's a case of you day my day, make a day my day. That is, you guys should just stop the bickering. But unfortunately, the way politicians behave in Nigeria, they all play the same game. So they lack the moral standing to advise another person to give up this battle. That is not worth it. You are distracting the man from governance. But I'll be honest with you, if you look at what happened in the past, I don't see Wike finishing what he started. Why? This thing happened between what's his name and Wike.
Amici.
That is Amici and Wike. And as he did, Amici realized that Wike was the governor. And then now the same Wike, it's embarrassing really, I'm surprised. The same Wike is trying to give someone the same bitter pill he rejected. I don't know how he expects that to work. But let's watch things unfold. One thing I can say is that I love the fact that Fubara is not in hiding anymore. He has taken a position. Okay. That if you think my being kind, my being statesmanly about this whole thing, that is a weakness, I was surprised. I love the fact that he didn't say what he would do. He said, I'll surprise you. So you might as well watch your flanks, because this is going to get interesting. So he has made the position clear that he's not docile about it, because people have been agitating, governor, do something. You are the governor, governors, leaders. He has told them, bros, I'm not unmindful of the fact that I'm governor and I want peace. But if they think that my asking for peace, my working for peace is a sign of weakness, when the time comes, I will demonstrate that I'm not a weak leader. So the die is cast. Let's see how it goes for Rivers State. But I will for Rivers. This is not good. I mean, this is a state that has so much promise, way too much promise, and so much work to be done. Young people involved in all kinds of crazy businesses, people involved in cultism, in oil bunkering. There are security issues, there are unemployment issues. These are things the governor should focus on. See, and he's here talking about structures.
Mr. Larry, with all that's happening in Rivers State now, is Fubara not the one entertaining all of this? Should he has just paid, deaf ears to all that's happening and not even bother? I know the only one that concerns him basically is the House trying to impeach him, the move to impeach him. That was the one that he should address, because it affects his office and his ability to deliver. But with the bickering with Yeson Wike, is it necessary? Should he just allow it and just pay deaf ears rather than entertain such a distraction?
These are all options available to him. This strategy you're recommending is what he was doing all along. And sometimes in Nigeria, when you show that maturity and you don't want to rock the boat, people take you for granted.
Is there maturity with politicians? Can you even be mature? Can you even be mature with politicians and with politics?
That's part of the issue, because you can see that people who are supposed to have respect for him are even threatening him, and they are not coming to equity with clean hands. I mean, they have their own controversies, they have their cases in court, and then they are still threatening him. So I think he's done with that gentlemanly attitude. He made it clear that, yes, he has been showing respect to the elders, and he's not saying he will stop showing respect. He just said that if this madness continues and anybody decides to do what he shouldn't do, I will also show the person that I can do things the person didn't expect. He can decide to keep quiet indefinitely, but you should also realize that the Niger Delta people are not known for keeping quiet in the face of provocation. His own people are not happy with his stance all this time. That is, they have been telling him, bros, assert yourself. I mean, it's in public domain. Even the elders saying, assert yourself, you're our governor. Govern, stop all this, gentlemen, listen. Some of them were even angry, they signed the agreement.
Okay.
So now I think he understands that he needs to also give them a piece of his capacity to be a Nigerian politician. So it's evolving. It's evolving. I just hope it won't get to that point where we begin to lose young people, lose lives. I mean, people are already in court. They are victims of a political war. You won't see Wike or Fubara in court for going to beat up this person or burn that property or attack that person. It's the sons and daughters of mere mortals, ordinary Nigerians, that are used for these things. And it's painful. It's the public buildings that are burnt because of these things. And they will use our taxpayers' money and award inflated contracts to rebuild them. So I think the madness should stop. I mean, somebody should advise the former governor, Wike, that he has done his bit. You know, I like what Amechi did. At some point, Amechi left Rivers alone.
I'm glad you brought this back.
The man was there from Rivers State because he just left them alone.
I'm glad you brought this back because what exactly is Amechi's political relevance after that bout with a Wike? You wouldn't necessarily hear a lot of Amechi in the news these days. I mean, he's been terribly quiet since the 2023.
No, it's a choice Amechi made. I can tell you, a Nigerian politician with a large financial war chest can remain relevant, whether you want it to be relevant or not. He can make trouble. He'll just be causing trouble everywhere, and you'll be hearing about him. The truth is that I think Amechi at some point decided to focus on his career as a minister and leave us. And then after that time, he went home. I think he just did some kind of introspection and decided that it's time to go and get some peace and live my life. I mean, he has done his bit with the whole crazy terrain. The terrain has blessed him. The terrain has also exposed him to all sorts. I think he took stock and realized that the best thing to do is to go and get some peace, which is actually the best thing to do if you ask me. And I think Wike should be looking at not just being the strong man of River State. He should also be looking at legacy. Politicians don't think about the legacy they are leaving. We have a memory. We won't forget.
Okay.
He should think about legacy. You've done your bit. Let this man do his bit. You put him there. So let him work. You cannot be a surrogate governor. It doesn't work like that. This is supposed to be a democracy.
Okay.
So I think people who have access to him should also advise him. Bros, let him be. Encourage him. If you don't want to encourage him, then leave him alone. There's something I want to point out just briefly, which will help Nigerian politicians. You know, it was Clinton that defeated Bush in the U.S. elections. And when Bush was being buried, that's the Bush senior, the kind of encomiums Clinton poured on him was amazing. I mean, this guy, Bush Republican, Clinton Democrat. So the question is, why so? In fact, the man said that America didn't really appreciate the quality of the man that was lost to America. And he now started telling the story of how after he defeated Bush, Bush actually wrote him a personal letter on the challenges he was going to face as American president and advised him on how to lead America, the mistakes he made, the ideas he could use. In fact, Clinton admitted during the burial of Bush that letter became his Bible. And he said that his respect and admiration for the man practically went through the roof, because he was like, this is a man that I contested an election with. This is a man I practically defeated, that he defeated. And I wonder, when will American politicians teach us, okay, better say, when will Nigerian politicians learn how to play politics with maturity? That it should be Nigeria first, not party, not personal interest, not politics, Nigeria first.
Is it possible to have Nigeria first and not their personal pockets? What with the 905 million naira that was raked in by political parties in the Ondo state elections? We had APC.
All things are possible. Okay, so I've not given up on Nigeria. The day I give up on Nigeria, you will know. I've not given up. And I challenge Nigerians not to give up. I think what we've done successfully is to allow the people who misrule us to continue to do so. We shouldn't have rulers, we should have leaders. If you look at what happened in Senegal, you see the difference between the Senegalese and the Nigerian. The Nigerian will pay lip service to quality leadership. they will talk about not too young to run. They will waste energy and time amending laws. But when it comes to casting votes, the same young people will collect money from septuagenarians and octogenarians, no insult meant, and then help them rig the elections.
It's not an insult.
I think we should get to that point where we walk our talk. We need to get to that point where we put our vote, our piece of power, where our mouth and our minds are. That is the difference.
Okay, Mr. Larry, let's move away from this subject.
This thing will stop.
Okay, let's move away from that one so we don't overflog it. Let's move on to another development. And this one, I don't know how to react to it when I saw this particular headline. Apparently, the federal government has now raised concern as about 137 scholars on TED Fund scholarship as absconded Nigeria. The federal government has described, this as alarming. The rising cases of abscondment by academic staff of various Nigerian universities sponsored by, for training in foreign countries. One that also caught my attention is one of Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, where the authorities revealed that it has now taken legal action against its lecturers who absconded after studying abroad via the TED Fund scholarship. It seems like this jackpot thing is not only the average Nigerians that are doing it. We are beginning to see our lecturers, once they send you abroad for training or you go there for any course, you've used that way and find your, Utoama, according to my people from River State.
Well, I think what's happening is obvious, and they don't have the moral right to complain, though they may have the legal right to complain. When you send a person for training or for a course, the person is expected to complete the course and come back. That is a process for leaving public service. You don't just abscond, especially when we spend a fortune training the person. You don't just abscond. However, they don't have the moral right to complain, because what are you coming back to do? You are coming back to complain about whether you have been paid 4 months arrears, whether they seized your 4 months or they're going to release 2 months, or whether they're owing you or not owing you. When they go to those places and they study in proper academic environments, and they see the quality of life their colleagues are enjoying, and they realize that they're as brilliant as the people who are enjoying those benefits. Let me surprise you, some of them don't even apply to run. Some of them are asked to stay because they are brilliant. You don't understand how brilliant Nigerians are. And let me also surprise you further. Oyibo like Betatino. Do you know that you can immigrate to US on the basis of exceptional skill?
Valid.
That you don't have any other qualification. You are too good at what you do. They will collect you. They want good things. Look at how they are dragging even sportsmen. You can get full scholarship to study in American university on the basis of exceptional sports skill. So you belong to the varsity team. So these are guys who can relate. First of all, identify good things when they see them, and they can relate. So what they do is that they see a brilliant Nigerian lecturer. They do, so bros, why don't you do your sabbatical here? Okay, have you done your sabbatical? Okay, so after this course, you take 1 year, you do your sabbatical. Before you know what's happening, to move from dating to marriage, and they will abandon Nigeria. Because Nigeria doesn't have value for them. So while we are complaining about the fact that they went on a training or course and absconded, which is unethical, we should also ask ourselves, why are they absconding? Who doesn't want to stay at home and enjoy his native soup? Bros, I don't want to talk about fisherman soup and all of that. Who doesn't want to enjoy that?
But looking at Nigeria, seriously, but looking at the number of absconded, academic
is it
staff,
that much?
137
Simeon, is it that
have
much?
absconded. These are people who
but sorry, let me surprise you. You know, you are talking about people who have absconded through TED Fund training. Hundreds of lecturers are absconding. Thousands, actually. There is a crisis situation in our universities.
That one is not. It's not the case of. We need to understand. There's a difference between absconding and you resigning to leave the country for greener pastures. These are two different things.
I'm talking about absconding. There are two kinds of abscondment. Okay. When people go for training abroad and they refuse to come back, that's abscondment. Yes, sponsored by the government. Like I said, that is morally wrong. It's legally wrong. But that's what is happening. Basically, because the environment here is hostile. Let me also remind you that sportsmen from former Soviet Union used to go for major Olympic events, major sporting events, and refused to go back home. It's happening today. Even people from North Korea sometimes travel on official assignment and stay put and refuse to go back home. You see, when your country is hostile, sometimes you just run for your life. I'm not recommending that
but in
people
this
should
case,
use.
is Nigeria
I'm not recommending that they use state fund to run away. I'm just saying that while the state is complaining and while the ABU is going to court, they should ask another question. Why are they leaving? If you want to solve a problem, go to the first principle, like we say in mathematics. Go back to the beginning of the problem. Because if you are taking people to court and doing all of that, and you don't really solve the fundamental problems, they will abscond. There's another type of abscondment, which is still abscondment. When a Nigerian even uses his money to buy tickets and leaves the service without any notice, without any because let me surprise you. Do you know that if a lecturer just relocates to Europe without any notice, do you know that they'll continue paying his salary for some time? Because there's no notification. The way our system works, they may pay him for 3 or 4 months, but they realize that this man is not here anymore. And that is wrong. And you won't refund that money. So if you want to resign, you resign. So I'm saying that whether it's state fund abscondment or personal abscondment, is abscondment. There are processes for leaving a service, just like there's a process for entering the service, which was rigorous, which you prayed for. Now that you have it and you are not happy, you should honorably quit, resign, pass through the process again, and leave through the door, not through the window or through a tunnel. No, leave through the door.
Sometimes, let me put, in view, in context, the amount of money Nigeria loses as a result of this TED Fund scholarship. Because at the end of the day, this scholarship is supposed to last for every scholar sent abroad. Basically, they're being sent to France for a postgraduate course. Being sponsored for 3 years, which means if you're leaving now, you'll be back probably in 2027. It's a 3-year postgraduate course, and for each scholar, 63.4 million naira is being expended for their program, basically, and 12 scholars are being sent per time. So when you look at the figure, that is about almost 761 million naira.
Simeon, there are still situations where.
So why should they leave with this money expended on them by the government of Nigeria?
Even with all these.
So the question is this. Sorry, while you ask that question, also ask yourself, why should you spend almost 1 billion training someone and the person comes back and you refuse to pay him, you refuse to provide an enabling environment for training, considering that you have exposed him to places where universities work? You that is sending him there, are you mumu? If you don't want to make your own space work, why don't you leave him here? Why expose him to the good life? Expose him to places that work. Expose him to the fact that he can actually learn and earn in a better environment. And then you bring him back here to suffer. So you that is sending him, is your head working well? If you want to send him, let him come back. I mean, let me tell you also that Lee Kuan Yew used this process to build his country, Singapore. He sent the best brains to the best universities in the world, and they willingly came back to Singapore to build. And look at what they have turned Singapore into. Because when they came back, they placed them on corporate salaries. It was intentional. So they calculated, okay, what would you earn in America? I'm telling you what happened, what was done by a visionary. The man would calculate, if this man finishes at Harvard and stays back in US, he would earn $200,000 per annum. Okay, come back to Singapore, we'll pay you $20,000 per annum. Come and reinvent our financial sector. Come and reinvent our energy sector. Reinvent our energy sector. So the man was so intelligent that he planned what he was going to do and did it. So in Nigeria, you go there, you get allowances, you live well, you enjoy life for 3 years. So how do you adapt when you come back to Nigeria? No power, no petrol, no salary, no allowances, no peace. You can't travel. Hello? I mean, they should begin to think about the fact that they're exposing these guys to the good life, and then it will take a lot of then they expect them to come back to this place. No, they should also think about it. If they don't want to run the program, they should stop. But if they want to run those programs, they should also factor into this whole thing how to make the universities work, how to make the environment conducive, how to make them safe. I mean, do you know that court is threatening lecturers in Nigeria that they go and warn a lecturer, if I fail, your son will disappear from the primary school where he attends? Are you aware? Okay. These are things they have to put up with. And then you want him to come back here. It doesn't add up. If you want them to train and come back, make this place conducive for them. If you don't want to train them, fine. We will leave them. But the truth is that we need to do things in a holistic manner. You don't just go and take one aspect and say we are sending them for training. Then you're not thinking about what happens to them when they finish that training. Where are they going back to? What motivation do they have to go back? Why should they go back? You should ask yourself that question and answer the question.
All right. In another developing story between Kwama community and the military, we're seeing the CDS yesterday. He made a statement that the Nigerian army did not take laws into their hands by declaring wanted some people over the recent killing of the 17 officers in the Kwama community of Delta State. I mean, we saw that particular interview. I don't know if you caught up with it, but he was talking about the fact that they went peacefully to settle the dispute in that particular community. I mean, the officers went unarmed, and then see what happened as a repercussion of the violence in that particular state. Did you catch up with that particular interview?
Yes, but I'm thinking that the truth is that we need to understand how security agents work. There was a time I recommended that there is a need to set up a joint investigation committee, basically because different institutions, security institutions, have different mandates. There are things that the military are not supposed to do ordinarily. Even if the DMI, Directorate for Military Intelligence, can collect military intelligence and all of that, they are not as savvy in dealing with civilians as the police. So I've already said that there is need for the military to work with the police. And the military are actually trained to fight wars. So when you attack a military man, the default mode of his mind is to fight back with everything he has, weapons and all. That is the default mindset. So unless you are able to really manage the military personnel, anybody who attacks a military man will pay for it. They even made a statement about whether they called it controlled something. That is, they say something about the fact that if you attack a military personnel, you pay some price. Though they'll moderate the price, but you pay. Somebody said that. So the point is, go ahead.
Let me ask this question. With the statements of the chief of defense staff, I heard everything. I saw the video. He said, that the late general wasn't with a weapon. His team wasn't with a weapon. So they went there just to have a conversation with them. Rather, they were rounded up and killed and slain in the way they did. But we've seen conflicting reports earlier where it was even, stated that the military wanted to recover the weapons of the military, personalities who were killed. So now looking at this,
just the general.
Okay, he said just the general.
Just the general was unarmed. I don't know about all the other.
There are too many conflicting stories, and one of the things the military didn't do well was that they didn't allow people to go in at that time. What I mean by people, that the press especially, to begin to do some investigative journalism and unravel what really happened. And they didn't do well for their image in this matter, because if you cordon off the space and insist that nobody will come in, including the press, the impression you give is that you're hiding something, and that didn't really do much for their image. Having said that, I don't want to believe that they can tell us that the military went to somewhere in that area, in that part of Nigeria, and all of them were not armed. If they say the general wasn't armed, it's understandable because his boys were there. But I don't want to believe that you send 17 soldiers or more to a location in a very volatile area, and all of them are unarmed. If they did that, I don't want to even, I don't want to make unsavory comments, but I don't want to believe it. They are military personnel, they are trained, they should know when they are running risks. And you cannot be in that environment at all and you are not armed, whether you are going for peace or for war. When you are in that environment, even civilians are armed in the environment. So why wouldn't the military be armed? Being armed and using the arms are not the same. So all these explanations are just conflicting, because we are hearing so many stories. I think we need to really sit down and unravel what happens there, because the stories are legion. That is, we are talking about interest in bunkering. We are talking about peace, community conflict. We are talking about people using the military. We need to settle down and find out what happened. Why do we need to find out? Because if we don't, it will happen again. Maybe on a lesser scale, maybe on a larger scale. But you see, if we don't, it may not happen today or tomorrow. I mean, when did the deal happen? But the point is that it will happen. It may take 20 years, then we forget, and it happens again. So I think we need to get to the root causes of our problems. We shouldn't do any cover up here for the military, for the local the warriors. We need to find out what happened in the interest of the state and the nation, so that we can apportion blames, punish people as appropriate, and ensure that it does not happen again. They are fighting a war of words with the community. It's not about fighting a war of words with the community. I think we need to give the families that lost their lives from soccer by getting to the bottom of this. That, for me, that is the greatest closure we can bring to the matter. How did this happen? How do we prevent it from happening again? I mean, that is very important. So all these issues of just exchanging words through media channels is not what we should be doing at this time. We should be looking for permanent solutions. And I must also point out that a situation where people are declared wanted without probably exhausting all opportunities to get them to report without embarrassment is not fair to them, because the chief of his community that reported when he was declared wanted said that he didn't know what anybody was talking about. It's not as if, that's the impression he gave in his media briefing, was that nobody invited him. That's the impression I have. And you can't declare me wanted if you never ask me to come and see you. And that is why I said that the military should work with the police and some other agencies, not alone, because we have standard best practices for engaging civilians, and they are not trained in those standard best practices. They should work in partnership with institutions that are trained to work with civilians.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Larry, for coming on board today. It's been an awesome conversation with you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, and I hope that, like I always say, they are listening to the voice of the people. It's important. Eventually, democracy is about the voice of the people, feedback from the people. The only way you can lead us well, that we tell you what we want from you.
All right, thank you so much, and have yourself a wonderful day.
And you too.
Okay, to you listening, thank you so much for listening to Voice of the People. This has been the Front Page Review. It starts at 7:15, pardon me, and you can save our number on your phone so that you can easily reach us on 0700 010 961 961. I'll take that again, 0700 010 961 961, and we're always live on YouTube at Voice of the People Abuja. So join us every single day at 7:15 for the Front Page Review.
And in case you missed out when we started earlier on the show today and you want to, catch up on this episode, just go straight on YouTube and you will find the stream there. Okay, we're back at the 9 o'clock hour, but coming up in about 4 minutes from now, 8:30, will be the Sports Beat crew. My name is Simeon Sunday.
I am Gesere Agua. Good morning to you.